Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So today, it is not Geo, but it is his editor, Autumn River. So today I will be making a Reddit video, r/AITH. I know he's made a few videos of the subreddit, but I just really wanted to read some of these stories, so let's just get on with it. Let's see. Ooh, just a short one. I'm probably gonna be reading like a few today. So here's the first one. AITH for telling my mother-in-law she couldn't visit my wife in the hospital the same day our child was born. My wife and I discussed it in the days leading up to the birth of our son, and we agreed that we did not want any visitors the same day he was born. My mother-in-law was notified that my wife was going to require a C-section, and she told me to tell her when she was able to come up and visit, and I told her I would do so. I texted our group chat from my wife's side of the family updating them that the procedure went well and that mom and baby were doing perfect. She replied and said, "I know you didn't tell me to come, but we are in the waiting room. We're so excited and want to be here for you too." I texted her back saying that we appreciated her coming up, but that they should go home and that we would see them tomorrow. My father-in-law called me shortly after and insulted me in every way imaginable, and my mother-in-law sent me a long text saying how disrespectful it was of me to not allow them to visit their daughter. I quickly reminded them that today wasn't about them and it was about my wife, the baby, and I. We haven't spoken since. Am I the asshole? No. Mother-in-law and father-in-law need to respect your wife's wishes. Next story. Am I the asshole for not letting my sister's best friend come to my bachelorette party? This is a very anxiety-inducing situation for me, but I feel it's best to start from the beginning. I, 30 female, grew up with two older sisters, 33 female and 40 female. 33 female has been estranged from the family for a few years, and 40 female is still around. Her and I weren't the closest growing up, but as we got older, things got better. Better to the point where we got sister tattoos for my 30th birthday. My oldest sister experienced a lot of trauma from her late teens to 30s, a lot of which I was never told about because I was too young to understand, but now that I'm older and she can talk about it with me, I can attest that she went through a lot, but has fought through and does her best for herself and my two nephews, 19 male and 17 male. Now, on to the issue. I'm getting married next year, and a month before the wedding, my bridesmaids and a close friend of mine, 20s to 30s female, are going to Miami for my bachelorette long weekend celebration. My sister's bridesmaid and was invited, of course. Originally, we were all going to split the Airbnb, but I decided to pay for it all as a gift to my girls for doing so much to meet me there and celebrate. I gave them a rough draft itinerary of the weekend and the activities we would do, along with the cost we would share. Booking so far in advance, it's a lot cheaper and the girls appreciate it. Here's where the issues start. My sister doesn't think she can come for the full long weekend and can only come for 2 days. Okay, that's fine. She saw the itinerary and said to a couple of them, "I don't want to do that, so I'm just gonna sit that out." Okay. Then, while at a winery with my family and future in-laws last month, she invited her best friend of 20 years, female 40, who was at the winery with us, to my bachelorette. She didn't ask me if she could do it. They both looked at me and I just said, "We'll talk about it later," as I didn't want to get in that type of discussion in front of everyone. My mom is pressuring me to let me take her friend because my sister has high anxiety and refuses to fly by herself and said, "She's old enough to be a grandma." Again, my sister's only 40 and needs someone her own age to hang out with. I told my mom I was not comfortable with that and that this is my bachelorette and none of my other girls are bringing any female plus ones. My mother proceeded to call me selfish, saying things like, "It's all about me with you. It's my bachelorette." No kidding, yes it is. And then said, "You're taking friends that I don't even know, so how can they mean that much to you if I don't know them? Whereas we've known sister's best friend for over 20 years. She's like family." Growing up, my mother had to meet all the people I hung out with, and she doesn't know the friends I made at/after college, which is why she said that. To be honest, I don't care if she's like family. This is my bachelorette party weekend, not a vacation for my sister's friend. I plan to tell my sister and mother, once again, that her friend is not invited, and if the sister doesn't come because of that, that is on her conscience and not mine. Also, I paid for the Airbnb, so I should decide who does and doesn't stay in there, right? My fiance is on my side and said that if any of his friends tried pulling that for his bachelor party, he'd tell them to kick rocks. The anxiety in my stomach gets so high when I think of this impending conversation, and that's why it begs the question, am I the asshole? Edit. Wow, this got a lot more attention than I thought. I'm trying to read through all the comments I can. I'm at work, so it's hard, and I wrote this before I clocked in. I'll try to read and respond to as many as possible. But to answer some common questions, my sister's friend is invited to the ceremony and reception, so it's not like she's fully excluded. I would rather my circle of friends join me on this trip, not friends from anyone else's circles, which is why I'm hesitant on having her join. Can compromises be made? Sure, they can. However, it'll beg the question, is she really there for me, the one who's being celebrated? Or does she only want her friend there so they can do their own thing and have their own vacation, as my sister expressed her disinterests in some of the activities already? Yes, the friend was present when my sister asked this in front of my family and in-laws. She didn't say anything, just got wide-eyed, smiled, and waited for my answer. Oh, God. No, and you're not the asshole for... No, because exactly. Your sister is going to be hanging out with her friend, and your friend is just going to be treating it as a free vacation. No, you're not the asshole for not letting that happen. Am I the asshole? Husband went to coworker's burlesque show. Sorry if I said that wrong. I don't know. Hi, Reddit. This is my first time posting to the sub, so be kind. Mobile formatting apologies in advance. Background. Husband, 43 male, and I, 41 female, have been together for 13 years, also dated in high school. With the exception of this second try at our relationship, every partner has either cheated or pushed my personal boundaries with regards to sex/sexuality. Growing up during the Y2K era, I have some serious body dysmorphia issues as well. It's taken me many years to understand that bodies on screen, and especially millennial media, are not what all bodies look like, but feeling comfortable and confident in my body has been a constant battle. I constantly struggle with the fear of not being enough. The situation. I consider myself to be queer. I've always been openly attracted to all genders, but my partner is straight cis male. Many of my closest friends also fall somewhere on the queer spectrum. For many years, I've donated to queer causes, attended fundraisers, volunteered for pride events, etc. When a good friend started a traveling drag company during the pandemic, I started to attend more and more of their events to show my support for their growing business. Over the years, their troupe grew and added some burlesque acts to their lineup. Well, that's nice of you to do that for them. Up until a few years ago, my husband has never attended a pride or drag event. My friend's company had a big performance during Pride Month, so I invited him to attend. At the time, I wasn't yet aware that there would be burlesque performers. I'm sorry again if I keep saying that wrong. Since previous performances had included strictly drag. During the show, I felt waves of anxiety and discomfort when the burlesque performers were on stage, and I recognized my old friends' dysmorphia and insecurity creeping up on me. Being moderately self-aware, I had an honest and vulnerable conversation with my husband a few days later, where I explained that while he had done nothing wrong, it made me very uncomfortable watching nearly nude, female-presenting dancers performing sensually and sometimes explicitly sexually, no shame, on stage, with him sitting next to me, enthusiastically cheering and clapping along. I explained that I didn't realize burlesque was on the menu for the evening, but having sit through it, my skin crawling with anxiety and shame about my own body, it wasn't something I felt comfortable with moving forward. He seemed very receptive to my feelings. When my friend's drag company started including burlesque dancers in all performances, we agreed that we'd still support their group but might use the burlesque performances to grab another drink at the bar, go outside for a smoke break, or take a moment to focus on each other instead. We attended a subsequent Pride fundraiser that... Words are not my friend today. We attended a subsequent Pride fundraiser that included burlesque performers, and this plan worked like a charm. In the months afterwards, my husband became friends with a non-binary coworker who performs with a different drag and burlesque group. One evening, I met up with them for dinner, and his coworker mentioned how bummed they were that they hadn't been able to attend the Rocky Horror Picture Show drag/burlesque event that took place a few weekends before. Apparently, unbeknownst to me, they had made plans to attend. Work friend was not performing, but it was sold out. I happened to be out of town that weekend, so I was completely unaware of these plans until I heard about it at dinner. I played it off like it was no big deal, and asked my husband about it when we got home that night. I tried to stay non-confrontational and calmly explained that it hurt my feelings that he planned to go to an event where burlesque was featured because he knew my concerns and insecurities surrounding my partner watching a sensual, semi-nude performance. I explained that I've never been comfortable with partners attending strip clubs, and I saw this as no different in terms of the lens that a straight male would be viewing the performance through. I do believe that both burlesque and stripping can be beautiful, athletic, funny, and or artistic, but it's a hard boundary I'm not comfortable with him crossing. Since he'd previously been so caring and accepting of my feelings, it was a shock to me that he got defensive and upset. I asked why he didn't talk to me about it first, or even mention it after. I asked why he would assume I asked him why he would assume I would be okay with it, given our last conversation about burlesque. I asked why he felt watching burlesque is different from watching a skilled pole dancer, which is also very artistic and athletic. He argued that burlesque and stripping performances are completely different, that burlesque is a celebration of women's bodies, sexuality, and creativity, and that I was a hypocrite for attending drag but not supporting burlesque. I reiterated that my feelings were due to my own insecurities and my personal relationship boundaries based on prior experiences. He felt strongly that he didn't need to discuss it with me prior to making the plans, and stated that boundaries are unhealthy in relationships. Direct quote. All of this seemed in complete contrast to the man who had been so understanding of my feelings previously, and since he felt strongly that he'd done nothing wrong, we left the conversation without a real resolution. Fast forward to many months later. My husband's coworker was leaving the company, so the crew got together for a drink after work, and I was invited to come along. During the course of the conversation, it became clear that not only was my husband invited to another drag/burlesque event that his coworker performed in prior to the RHPS event, but he attended and never mentioned it. Again, I did not react in the moment, but when we got home later that night, I asked him point blank if he had... I asked him point blank if he had attended their show. He said he had. I asked him why he didn't tell me during our previous conversation when I expressed how I felt about the simple prospect of him attending a burlesque show. He reiterated that it's not a big deal to him, and reinforced his own stance that he had done nothing wrong either by attending or not telling me when given a chance to be honest during our last conversation. To this day, we have come to no resolution because he feels strongly that he has not crossed a marital boundary. No matter how many times or ways I try to explain why this is a betrayal of my trust, he either refuses to or cannot see my point of view. He feels I'm holding a grudge for something stupid, while I am left feeling that our relationship is being eroded by this gap in understanding. Recently, I worked up the courage to tell some of my friends about the situation, and across the board, they have been appalled at his behavior and reaction to my feelings. When I mentioned to him that I confided in a friend, he stated that he has told multiple friends about the situation, and they all agree that I am completely overreacting. I'm really curious to hear honest feedback, and I'm happy to answer any questions as time allows. I'm scared to see what the consensus is, but absolutely willing to consider all other viewpoints. Thanks in advance for weighing in. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to be reading a few of these comments. First comment. I think you're putting your insecurities on someone else, which makes you an age. Now you can choose not to be with someone who supports queen burlesque shows, and that's okay for you. You demanding that someone else not go because you are insecure is not okay. Either get some help for that or figure else or figure something else out in terms of your, oh my God. Either get some help for that or figure something else out in terms of your relationship. OP replied, "Thanks for sharing your thoughts. I have definitely sought help for this issue, so you're certainly not wrong there. Unfortunately, although I wish it was easier to let go of, these insecurities run deep, and that's why I tried to be forthcoming and honest about how I was feeling, as well as try to find a compromise. Clearly, I've got some more work to do. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts." You are heavily involved in drag events with burlesque acts. You are heavily involved in drag events with burlesque acts, but as soon as your husband starts to enjoy the same thing, you are hurt and offended? Quote, "Insecurities surrounding my partner watching a sensual semi-nude performance." End quote. You would do yourself a favor if you addressed your own issues. Pole dancing is sexual. Drag shows can be sexual. Burlesque is sexual. You are immersed in the lifestyle that revolves around sexual content, but you are drawing lines that you expect your husband to follow. His lines are different. Maybe you are not compatible. Cis plus queer might need reevaluating. Yeah. I'm going to let you guys all comment down below what you think about this story. If OP is the age, if they're the ass or not, let me know. Looking for oh my God, excuse me. Here's another comment. Not the asshole, but you seem to have some seriously unhealthy thought processes that could possibly use some significant work. Someone else said, he withheld information from you. He knew you were uncomfortable. He crossed boundaries. So what is the question? Not the ass. Yes, someone else commented, yes, the asshole. Not really surprised he didn't tell you. Your extremely long post string to justify you being butthurt and your many insecurities are fucking draining. Someone else commented, these are your boundaries, not his. If this is something you can't get over, you will need to leave the relationship. Unfortunately, this is how boundaries work when they're one-sided. Not the asshole, but you are trying to make your issues his issues. This is where you either find a way to get over it or find a different relationship where your boundaries aren't an issue. ESH. You voiced your concern and he just hid it from you. That's a problem. However, you clearly stated multiple times that you have insecurities, but you haven't stated what you're doing to overcome those insecurities. Are you in therapy? You can't blame him for the insecurities you have from previous relationships. That isn't fair to him. ESH. Another comment. ESH. Him for not communicating and saying boundaries on our and saying boundaries are unhealthy in relationships. You for not knowing what a boundary is. A boundary is excuse me. A boundary is how you will respond if someone else does something. A boundary is how you will respond if someone does something, not you saying you can't do X thing. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna do that in a deeper voice. Hang on. Not you saying, you can't do X thing. For example, if you don't like him going to burlesque shows and he wants to go, you won't be in a relationship with him anymore. That's a boundary. You saying that he can't go to burlesque shows is a rule and can be a form of control. Yeah, so, like I said, comment down below what you guys think. Let's see. Next story. Am I the asshole for believing my best friend when he told me his girlfriend was abusive? I, 18 female, have been long-distance best friends with Ben. 21 male, for around 5 years now, and he's basically the older brother I never had. He's literally said he wishes his parents could adopt me so we'd be siblings for real. He's always been an amazing friend, and we used to talk and call all the time. About 8 months ago, Ben got a long-distance girlfriend, and I was genuinely happy for him. But after that, our communication slowly reduced a lot, which I understood. Whenever we talked, though, he always sounded drained and stressed because of fights with his girlfriend. I also found out she would sometimes go through our chats, which already felt invasive to me. Then a few months ago, Ben suddenly texted me ranting about how he wanted to break up with his girlfriend because she was manipulative, toxic, abusive, and controlling, and how she was seriously affecting his mental health. He went into a lot of detail about different incidents and how badly he was struggling. As his friend, I obviously took it seriously. I told him that if all of it was true, then yes, he probably should leave the relationship. We talked for almost 3 hours during finals season, by the way. Mostly me trying to comfort him and encourage him to take care of himself. A few hours later, I get texts saying it wasn't... Oh, here we go. A few hours later, I got text saying it wasn't actually... Oh, sorry, I read that wrong again. A few hours later, I get texts saying it actually wasn't Ben. It was his girlfriend pretending to be him the entire time because she was bored and joking around. Then suddenly I'm the horrible person for encouraging him to leave his angel girlfriend. And apparently if I were a good friend, I'd know she's good for him. The thing is, this joke involved someone pretending to be my best friend and describing severe mental health struggles in extreme detail, including mentions of taking serious steps. I told Ben how messed up I thought the whole thing was and how I reacted like any concerned friend would. After that, he left me on red and blocked me everywhere, basically ending our 5-year friendship over this. Honestly, I feel like his girlfriend did this because she expected me to confess feelings for him or something, especially since she apparently has a history of accusing him of cheating. Instead, I reacted like a normal friend and it blew up in my face. So, am I the asshole? Edit. I did know Ben in real life. We only became long-distance friends because we both moved away. Oh my god, yeah, no. That girlfriend of his sounds like a complete toxic bitch. I'm sorry for the language, but like, no. That's not joking around. That's not funny. That's not okay. At all. Like, she does sound like she's controlling, and like, the fact that she looks through his text messages with OP and, you know, did all of this just to, quote, joke around. But I think that she was just being controlling, and maybe she has insecurities about her past relationships cheating on her, but like, that's not an excuse for her to be this controlling and manipulative and toxic. So definitely OP is not the asshole in this. I think the girlfriend is the total asshole in this situation. Like, honestly, I'm starting to get pissed off. I am actually pissed off at his so-called girlfriend. Like, that's not okay at all. Okay, moving on to next story before I blow up. Okay, I think this will be the last story because it's already getting up to 30 minutes. Am I the asshole for my wife? My wife doesn't use Reddit, but she watches those short videos that read posts from this sub and asked me to post this for her because she genuinely wants to know if she's handled this wrong. I'm a pretty quiet person and I tend to stay in the background. My wife is the opposite. Outgoing, social, direct, and the kind of person who naturally builds strong friend groups. One thing I've always appreciated is that the people she brings into our lives are usually wonderful. Her personality tends to filter out people she doesn't connect with pretty quickly. For over 10 years, she's had a close group of tennis friends, and one of those friendships became especially close. This friend had a very different upbringing from most of our social circle. She was born and raised in several African countries before her family eventually moved to the UK, then Canada, and then later the US. Her family had lived with a level of privilege during colonial times, although the world around them was changing. My wife also has a connection to Africa. She spent significant time living in West Africa years ago and became deeply immersed in the culture. As an African American woman, she said one of the things that surprised her most was that the local people generally saw her as American once she spoke, even though initially many assumed she was local based on appearance. She learned local languages, stayed connected to many friends from that period of her life, and still feels strongly attached to the culture and people there. Over the years, my wife has noticed that this tennis friend occasionally revealed some pretty troubling attitudes when talking about her past. Specifically, when telling stories from her childhood or younger years in Africa, she would sometimes repeat racist or derogatory language about Black people as if it were normal storytelling. My wife corrected her several times over the years and told her directly that the language and framing were offensive and not appropriate. Most recently, the friend was at our home for dinner and told another story that heavily involved racist language and stereotypes about Black people. My wife stopped her again and said very directly that this kind of language was not acceptable, especially in our home. Dinner finished awkwardly. My wife walked her to her car, said goodbye quiet. Oh my God, I can't words. Dinner finished awkwardly. My wife walked her to her car, said goodbye politely, and since then has not responded to the friend's calls or texts. My wife feels conflicted because this was a long friendship and because the friend has otherwise been supportive and close to her for many years. But she also feels exhausted having to repeatedly explain why this behavior is offensive. So, is my wife the asshole for effectively ending the friendship over this latest incident? No, your wife is definitely not in the wrong. Racism is never okay. Especially if your wife has repeatedly said, that language is not okay and is inappropriate, and her friend still is saying these comments. No, that's not allowed. That's not okay at all. Racist comments are never okay. Okay, so I think that's gonna be about it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, follow Gio on all of his social media platforms. All the links will be down in the description, as always. Link to my channel will be down in the description. Make sure to comment down below what other videos you'd like to see either Gio or I do. And oh God, I don't know what else to say. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to stay brave out there. Love yourselves, love each other, and have an amazing day. Bye.